we can finally go to the audience now. Yes, sir.
Hi. Myself, Gurmeet Singh from GCS Group. My question to you is, I'm from a different field altogether. We have a couple of verticals, but not from BPO sector. So would you suggest for an organization like us, we're into education field, training primarily, to diversify into this field? Is it advisable? And especially, we get a lot of consultants who suggest us to diversify. They give us beautiful offers. You'll get 16 pounds an hour and all. And eventually you end up finding out this person is giving a fake offer. So do you suggest to a company like mine to diversify into this field?
So, I think I've worked on both sides of the equation, and I think, it's that there are plenty of players in the space today. I think it's about figuring out what is it that you bring value to, rather than saying I'm going to go and start a BPO vertical. I think there's no dearth of players, and there's more consolidation happening than there is, in that, because there's not enough room. I think everyone's not looking just for money. Second, I think if you're new to the industry, you also notice that what India is known for, is changing in the sense that what began as a voice-led, actually more back-office accounting-led piece, then to voice, has key areas that have now moved on to geographies that are cheaper. And believe it or not, India is no longer, even in the, top 5 cheapest geographies for, service centers. So I think it depends on what you believe is the expertise you bring. But there's certainly a pretty intense set of players already out there, looking for business.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Puneet from NIIT. At the onset, a very interesting discussion in very interesting times. I bring in a perspective from the skill development industry. We have a demographic dividend, so-called demographic dividend. The irony is, one side you have youth, the other side you have breadth of talent. I've heard it. Now, can we look at a model from the BPM industry? There's a cost of acquisition of talent that you have. There's a cost of training that talent to make him productive. And if we can look at a convergence between the industry and the training industry in terms of taking it forward, from an ecosystem perspective, it will be wonderful.
So yeah, in case you're looking at a platform where not only BPO, any industry, I have interface with airlines, I have interface with hotels, I have interface with BPO, and every common theme where is the talent. So we are churning out the numbers, but we are not churning out the numbers which are employable. I think that's a very common theme. So I know you're from NIIT. So NIIT is in this space already doing some sort of filling the gap work. But I think there is a huge demand, and the problem that we face, say in my industry for specifically, is we get educated people, but we don't get employable people. So nobody addresses the fact that a degree doesn't make you employable. And some of the things are behavior related. Some of these are very people oriented. How do you come across either face to face or how you come across on the phone? So these are the things where there is no structured way of approaching this issue in the market. So once we have that something existing, it will not only feed to BPO. I think there is a huge demand across various verticals where there will be a requirement of this.
If I can just add to what you just said, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's not about the type of industry. In India, the employable base is far lower than what's being added to the economy, and I think all organizations are investing more and more time in what I call career pathing for employees that they believe they can invest in, whether it's teaching them how to write, how to speak better, how to understand better. And I think there's a little bit of a gap between expectation that is being set. I think the youth of the country, in my mind, are a little too, if you would, impatient in asking for more without contributing equally in that regard. And I think finding good talent is tough for every market.
Great.
Just to add, I'm sorry, just to add to your query, I can tell you that in some of the locations, especially the upcountry, there are tie-ups with various educational institutes, because the BPO industry, especially I'm talking about the domestic, is a very, very high attrition kind of a scenario. And there is a huge demand for freshers to join in, and because these are coming in, doing the job for 3-6 months and then moving out. They take it as a stepping stone. And there are tie-ups, local tie-ups, that they run programs, because the training time for an agent to start going on through the floor and start taking calls is somewhere between 15 to 18 days. So they run programs that, okay, you will be provided 7 to 10 days training as part of that curriculum, and that they get advantage to get a job into the local BPO partners. So that happens.
We will take the question, last question, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dipankar from Concentrix. After 14 years or maybe more of business being outsourced to India, whatever else Indian companies are known for, be it efficiency, be it cost, we are not really known for customer experience. And we constantly see that US companies, they retain their premium LOBs within the organization or within the country, and they don't really outsource the premium LOBs, and if we were to look at most of the BPO companies delivering from India, we would see that there's a lot of focus on service levels, on handle time, but very little on customer experience, unless it is pushed through by the client. So, and now we have Manila taking over a lot of the business. Now, can we really say that we have missed the customer experience bus, or is there still hope for Indian BPM companies, to show something on the customer experience front, both in the domestic and otherwise?
So if you look at, India's success rate as an industry on online, as in email-based customer service, it's far better than voice-based customer service. And for two reasons. One, obviously, is the accent. And second, obviously, is the fact that one requires a lot more research that can be done offline. So if you write to one of the largest retailers in the world online, all their customer service is handled still out of India. Whereas the voice pieces would have gone back or would have been with some other player in Europe or elsewhere. So I think the experience is still available. I don't think we've lost the battle. It's about making sure that both sides can come to us an agreement of what defines experience, what levels of training, what levels of quality, is baseline that both sides have to work on.
Great. So we'll sum it up like this, that the partnership is very essential, but it all depends on how much you invest in that partnership from the client side. And also it depends on how you nurture it, how you look at it at a long period of time, and how you incorporate the technology piece at an early stage so that there is a strong relationship and there's a good customer experience going forward. Thank you very much. You've been great on this panel, and thank you to the audience.